So today in class, we took some notes on triangle congruence. But before we did do those notes, in Canvas, I had some pages, a page that had some triangle congruency discoveries on it. So what we did was we were looking at the situations like the ones we were doing on paper with compass and protractor. So first thing we're going to do is take a look at this situation where we have side, side, side. We have three set sides. One of them's 10, one of them's 6, one of them's 7. You see the 10 here. Now the 10 is sitting here, and at the end of the 10 on one side with like a compass, which is what we did the other day, we're drawing a circle of radius 6. At the other end of that length of 10 segment, we're drawing a circle of radius 7. And we want to see how many different triangles we can form with this. Now you see that these two circles intersect in two places. It intersects here and when I do this, I get a triangle that has the 6, 10, 7. It has a 41 degree, a 105, and a 34. So that's one triangle. Now, if I go the other direction, this is the other spot that those two circles would intersect. And with that, I end up getting another circle that again has a 41, a 34, and a 105. So when we have three sides that are set, okay, we know the three sides. There's only one triangle that can be formed. So one of the triangle shortcuts that we're going to learn is side, side, side. Okay, the next one we're going to look at are these two here. The next two are if we have not three sides that we know, but two sides in an angle. This first one, we have two sides, this 6 and this 12, with this angle right here, this 52 degrees in between. So I cannot move this 6 line segment or this 12 line segment because it's set with this 52. So this is called side, angle, side. Now this other side, this one I can change the length of it. I can also change the angle of it. So this side is set, this side is set, and this angle is set. So this one here, I want to see how many different triangles we can make with a side and an angle and the side where the two sides have the angle in between. So if I move this, what's going to happen is you'll see that I got only one triangle. There's only one way for this to happen. Okay, there's only one way for it to meet here. And every time I do it, I'm going to get the same triangle. So if I have two sides and an angle where I have, let me pull this off again, a side, angle, and then side. That means two sides with the angle in between. It also forms a congruent triangle. The next one here, side, side, angle, has also two sides and an angle, but this is slightly different. Here's the two sides. These two sides are set in terms of their length, okay? So this 14 is set, this 10 is set, but the angle in between them is not set. It's kind of on a hinge, okay? So I can move it. This side over here, this 45, is a set length. And if I was to draw, this is an angle and the ray is coming out like this. We don't know where it's going to touch. Okay, so that keeps on going. But what happens is when I drag this side, this 10 on the circle, you're going to see it's going to hit that ray, which is that set angle 40 with a set side 10 and the set side 14. It's going to touch it once here. Okay, which gives me a triangle with a 40-degree angle, a 75-degree angle, and a 64-degree angle. And if I keep going, it's going to touch here. right there. Sorry, let me get rid of this line so I can see where I'm trying to touch. Okay. So let me go back up to this one. So up here, we saw that it was 40, 75, 64, but this side is a 15. Okay, this was 14 and 10, which were set. Those ones are set. This became a 15. But as I move over here, obviously it's going to be shorter, and it ends up being a 6. I still have my 40 because that was set. My 14 was set. My 10 was set. But this angle now is different, and this angle now is different. So just knowing two sides and angle does not necessarily mean it's congruent. It depends on where that angle is in comparison to the sides. So here, when I have two sides and I don't know the angle in between, which we call side angle, that could produce two different triangles, okay? But if I have two sides, like I did for side, angle, side, and the angle in between those two sides, then every time you're going to get one triangle. We then took a look at these two, which was instead of two sides and an angle, we have two angles and a side. And we're going to try two different combinations. This one here is if I have a side that's in between two set angles. So these two angles are set. This is going forever and ever and ever up this direction. This is going forever and ever and ever up this direction. And you can see that it forms a triangle. It's going to form one triangle because as I move this to here, and as I move this to here, there's only one triangle that can be set, okay? So having an angle, well, two angles with the side in between, where the two angles are on the end points of the side, you know, only one triangle is possible. So this is a congruent triangle. This one here, two angles and a side. So I've got two angles, these two angles here, these are set, and a side. So here's a side with an angle on it. The other angle is not here, okay, because it's not angle, side, angle. Now what happens is I'm going to be shifting this angle, which is staying the same, but its location is changing. It's following this ray off of this 57-degree angle. And so as I'm moving it and moving it and moving it, I need to move it until it touches that side that's 15. And once I do, you can see I'm going to get just one triangle. Okay, there's no other triangle I can get. So side works. Side angle side works. Side angle does not work. You need the angle in between the two sides. Angle side angle works. Angle side works. Then we're going to try angle angle. So angle angle, you see I've got three angles, okay? Three angles. And what happens is as I move this, you see this is 13, this is 10, this is 17. And as I drag out, you see my angles are still staying the same. I still have the 38, the 93, and the 49, but the side lengths are changing. So if I have three angles that are the same in two different triangles, it doesn't mean that they're going to be congruent. They're going to be similar. They're going to be the same shape, but different size. And then this bottom one's hypotenuse leg. And hypotenuse leg is dealing with a right triangle. So when we're dealing with this right triangle, what's happening is, think about this. Let me draw it here. This line here is my 90-degree angle, or 90 degrees on this side, depending on which direction I'm going. So I've got a right triangle. And what we're going to do is we're going to go on this circle, okay, until we hit the ray from that right triangle. So as I come, and there you go, I get a triangle here. So here is the 90 degrees, here's 53 degrees and 37 degrees. Now, as I go around, you see I can form two triangles like I could for the side angle, because this is side angle. Side, and here's my angle. But this happens to be with a right triangle. Now, when I come over here, I end up with the same angle measure, still 37, still 53. So this is 37, 53 here. And over here, it's also 37 and 53. So I do get two triangles, but it's always the same. So even though really this is side angle, which did not work right here. If it's a right triangle, it does because of Pythagorean theorem. Okay. So what this ends up being a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. So I don't know this side. Let me just call it X. But by Pythagorean, I could go X squared plus 4 squared, because those are my two legs, equals my hypotenuse squared, which is 5. So 5 squared. So I get X squared plus 16 equals 25. I subtract 16, I get X squared equals 9. I take the square root of both sides and I get X is 3. So this is a 3, 4, 5. So it does not matter in this case how many, just trying to get my cursor back. It does not matter how many that I end up getting two triangles here, because this is a right triangle. And if I know two sides of a right triangle, I can always find the third using Pythagorean. So in this case, this is called hypotenuse because this is my hypotenuse and this is my leg. But it's really side angle, which does not work except for right triangles. So then what we did is we added this into our composition book. So if you want to get out your composition book and add in the formula, the following situations. Let me just move this out of the way. And so we're calling this triangle congruence. And so I'm going to list the ones that worked and I'm going to list the ones that did not work. So first one, side, SSS. And that situation is that a triangle. So that situation, we have a triangle. Here, let's say we have two triangles. I'm just going to copy this, copy, paste. And what's going to happen, let me just paste an extra one here, is we are going to, for this situation, have where this side here is congruent with this side. Let's say this side here is congruent with this side. And this side here is congruent to this side. So I'm putting one tick mark on the two sides that correspond to each other and two tick marks on the other two that correspond and 3 for the others. Now, a lot of times what I like to do is I like to color code them. And so this side, is congruent to this side. This side is congruent to this side. And this side is congruent to this side. Okay, and that's called side. Now, the next one I'm going to do is side, angle, side. So let me just, I'm just going to move this and copy, paste. And I'm just going to get another set. Let me just copy and paste so I've got another spare set for the next one. Okay, so the next one I'm going to do side, angle, side. So this one's going to be side, angle, side. Just make it a little darker. Side. Okay, right, one more time. Side, angle, side. And so in this case, I have a side and a side. I have an angle in between. So let's say that the angle I have is this angle, is congruent to this angle. And then I have another side. So I have two sides with the angle in between. So when I'm doing this side and this side correspond. This side and this side correspond. And I have this angle here with this angle here. Okay. That angle here with that angle here. And that is side angle side. Okay, the next one I'm going to do is angle side angle. So for the next one, angle side angle. And so for that, I'm going to have an angle. And I'm going to show a different way of denoting this. I did the other one with an arc and a tick mark. I can also do it where I have an arc and maybe the other one has two arcs. That's another way of showing that those are congruent. And then I have a side. Okay, that's called angle side angle. Here is my angle side angle. So I have the two angles on either side of this side. So for this, I have a side in both cases. And then I have this angle. And then I have this angle. Okay, again, angle side angle. Okay, next one I'm going to do is going to be angle, angle side. So the next one, angle, angle, side. And for that, I have an angle. I have another angle. And then I have a side that's not in between those two angles. So I have a side, an angle, an angle, and here's my other angle. And so again, notice that up here, both of these I have two angles, but the side is in between the two angles, and here it's not in between. But that's still a congruent triangle. Now, so far I have 4. Okay, there are 5 congruent triangles relationships, and the last one is going to be a right triangle. So let me get 2 right triangles here. Okay, so here's my 2 right triangles. And this one is called hypotenuse leg, HL. Okay, hypotenuse leg. And so we have a 90-degree angle. Whoops. We have a 90-degree angle in both of these triangles. So this is a right triangle. And we know the hypotenuse and one of the legs. And again, this really is side-side angle, which is not a relationship because this is a right triangle and we can use Pythagorean. If we know 2 sides to find the third, then this is good enough to prove that these 2 triangles are congruent. So again, we have a side, which is the hypotenuse. We have another side, which is one of the legs. And we have to have this right angle, has to have that right angle. And that is our fifth congruence statement that we can use to prove triangles are congruent. Now, I'm going to write two that do not work down here. Okay, so the following do not work. So these ones don't work. And the two that don't work are the following: angle, 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 because what that will be is it will be similar, but not necessarily congruent. And then the other one that doesn't work is side, side, angle. You can make two triangles, so that doesn't work. So we added this into our composition book. So make sure you add that in.